Okay, you know what we need to do right now? We need to square a wall. Let's do it. Okay, it's my opinion that when you're building a house, there's certain things that are super important, okay? And there's other things that are important, but they're not as important as the things that are super important, okay? And one of those things is squaring your walls once you've built the wall. Okay, so well, just think about it. If your wall is a little bit out of square, that means the whole house is going to be slightly out of plumb, okay? And we don't want that. So when our company, when we square walls, we have a specific system and we're also really particular with it, okay? So let's figure it out. Let's learn how to square a wall. Okay, so we have a wall that's built. All the studs are in, the windows are in, the top plates are on. The first thing you want to do is you want to nail your bottom plate to the line, okay? Now, this line, it doesn't matter where the line is. It could be snapped on the road, it could be snapped on the moon, okay? All that matters is the line is straight and reasonably level, okay? But what's super important is that line be straight. So you can nail a wall down anywhere, all right? So let's get the wall nailed down to the line. Okay, so we've nailed the bottom plate down to a straight line, and it's nice to nail. It's perfectly straight, okay? Super important. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start measuring the wall for square, okay? Now always remember, you wanna start from your bottom plate to the first top plate, okay? Now you'll notice that this board is nice and like there's no wane here. Okay, this is really important when you're cutting your plates. You want to have it so that the wane is not on the outside of the plate, so that when you can measure it for square, it goes right to the edge of the board. Okay, so now we're going to measure it for square. Okay, so there's a couple different ways of doing this. One way is where you have one tape measure that goes all the way across like this, and then somebody else has another tape measure that goes all the way across like that. Now, I don't necessarily mind that way of doing it, but I prefer actually to use just one tape measure. And one employee holds one end and the other person holds this end, okay? And I just find that if you have one tape, it's actually more accurate. And this is actually just as fast too. Okay, so we're gonna measure it now, and what I get in the habit of doing is saying the number out loud, and then it gets that in my head, okay? I know it sounds stupid, but that's the way I do it. Okay, so here we go. 280 and a small half, so 280 and 7/16. Move over. Okay, 280 and a quarter plus, so 5/16. So how far are we out? We're out an eighth, okay? So all we need to do is move the wall over. Now, this is another point. If you're an eighth out, right, how far is the wall out of square? That would be, the wall's only a 16th out of square. So if you measure it and it's an eighth difference, it means the wall only has to move half that amount, which is a 16th. So let's move that. We want to be 280 3/8. There we go. And 280 3/8. Okay, it is square. So the wall's perfectly square. It's actually within a 30-second here. What we want to do now is nail the top. Okay, good. Okay, so our wall is square. Now, one thing you should always remember, if you're the other guy holding the tape, sometimes you kind of become impatient with the person that's squaring the wall. Always remember to take your time on this process. Don't rush the person that's squaring the wall because it is so important, okay? So you're not in a hurry to do this. If you're gonna take time with anything, this is a good example of something you should take your time with. Now, another thing is, when you go to sheet the wall, okay, always be paying attention for issues where it shows that you're out of square. So if you go and put the sheet down, and the sheet is not perfectly square with the wall, you know you have a problem. So what should you do then? What you should do is check the wall again for square, because it's so important. Okay, so always be watching for issues where you might have screwed up on the squaring process, okay? All right, let's sheet the wall.